Hey, hi folks. This is the third video in a series of videos that I've been doing. We covered why the traditional funnel is an acquisition model, right? There are leads, opportunities, and closure. However, the truth in B2B SaaS, it's way complicated, and the BowTie funnel works. It's really post-sale that the recurring revenue kicks in, and that's the more important part of the funnel. Having come down to this one, we discussed also what the checklist in marketing and SDR teams are. I'm going to link both of those videos on this post. Let's cover what the checklist once the deal is in sales is bucket. It's already qualified and it's come post SDR to sales, right? This is a checklist that you will have to check at this part of this stage. Does your sales have all the prerequisite information from SDR on the prospect of the deal? You could have banned methodology or any other methodology. Have you enabled the SDR team to capture that? Would there be any exceptions, any specific information they also need to capture? This is the piece of intel that your SDR team is generating. Along with that, you also want to make sure all the firmographic, technographic data from the likes of ZoomInfo, Lintel, of these applications, right? Where is the headquarter of this company? Who's who at the company? All of that comes from technographic data providers like ZoomInfo. Also any firmographic information, how many employees, blah, 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 what technologies they already use, and everything that SDR has to capture. You have to have all that information for sales so they don't end up doing all of this. And if the prospect ghosts the rep on the call, is there automation to reassign the SDR to reschedule demo, right? You'd be surprised in so many organizations that I have seen, this function does not exist, right? The demo is scheduled, the sales rep sees the prospect ghosted, they probably would slack the SDR who created, asking them to reschedule, or worst case scenario, they would change the ownership of the opportunity back to the SDR manually, right? So what I'd suggest is have an automation. Maybe there's a field that says this is sales accepted, sales not accepted. If it is not sales accepted, why not accepted? One of the reasons probably is the prospect ghosted. The moment they select that one, automation will re-trigger an alert to the SDR saying them why this is being sent back to them. Why is the ownership of the op back to them, and they need to reschedule the demo, right? Bring that automation, have that architecture in the CRM. Does sales have battle cards, lookalike deals to review before? This is where a lot of automation out there in the market is happening. So you have to have sales reps trained and all the battle cards handy, right? Is there a method to mark deal not sales accepted? What happens when the deal is not sales accepted? Like the sales could have multiple reasons where they probably would evaluate the SDR did a poor job. Maybe this is not one of the deals that we entertained, right? Maybe SDR did a poor job. Maybe there could be other reasons. Maybe there is ghosting, which is one of the reasons we discussed. So give them the choice of marking the deal as not sales accepted. That way, there's another measurement that you could do in your funnel is how many deals that are created by SDRs go to not sales accepted, and what are the reasons why would that be the case. This is a huge loop for sales enablement to fix. And what happens once they select non-sales accepted? You have to identify the right reasons and notify the right teams. If it is not sales accepted because of SDR's poor qualification, they have to know about it. Also, this gives a chance to the SDR teams to contest. Just one moment, please. Yeah. It also gives the chance to SDR teams to contest if the sales rep incorrectly identified that deal as not sales accepted. So you have to create these quick feedback loops. Has sales identified the decision-making tree? Super important, right? As you go through the next stages of the deal, you have to identify who's who on the deal, right? Like who's the executive sponsor, who's the champion, right? Who's going to be the Spock for the deal? If that is not identified right from the demo, the next set of conversations are going to be super, super hard. What are the red flags at this stage of the deal? Yes, so identification of this will only help sales reps seek help and get moving. Now on the one deal, right, is there an automation once the deal goes to closed one post deal that triggers tasks to deal desk, finance, CSM, sales ops, right? There has to be all kinds of automation, right, to different teams that need to know once the deal is won. Maybe finance is very curious on what are the payment terms that have to be sent out. When are the invoices sent out? Are there any special terms that we agreed on that CSM would like to know, right? Deal desk probably would like to check XYZ before they mark it to finance. So on and so forth. All that has to be automated. Has sales captured all tribal knowledge on this deal into the CRM? This is where the gongs of the world sit, where they are fetching all kinds of information. So you want to be making sure irrespective gong or any other tool, any tribal knowledge. Tribal knowledge basically means that is the piece of intel only sales figured at the time of their conversation with the customer. All of that has to be captured. The gongs of the world do a good job of capturing, but it is still not structured. So you still need to figure how do you structure and bring that into a reportable format. Maybe they mention XYZ competitor does ABC that you don't, right? It's a critical piece of intel for product to know. How do you structure and make sure that product knows? You could create all kinds of alerts on, you could create all kinds of structured data, reporting analysis. So this is where all that has to happen. Did sales commit something outside the standard terms? Do you have a method to communicate to the CSM? Far more, you know what, it's pretty pointless if your win rates are great, but from closure to your onboarding is poor. It's very indicative of two facts, right? Maybe sales did a poor job, phenomenally well closure, but if they cannot onboard, they figure poor promises, or if they figure poor customer onboarding, all that is wasted effort. It's pretty pointless if you acquire a customer and they don't stick along longer with you. That's when you really make money, right? The whole point of this video conversation, the first video, was why recurring revenues happens. It happens post sale. That's where the sweet money is, right? Super important. Anything outside the norm that sales promises, you have to capture, find a way to capture that on the CRM. Alert CSM so they are on guard, they are prepared when they walk into the meeting with the customer while onboarding. There are no surprises, no shocks. I know we are up time. We'll cover the next set of checklists in our next conversation. Hope this was helpful. Happy selling, happy building.